This is the first meeting, first workshop for the 2023 master plan. We have established a website for this specifically, as well as an email address, which I have put in the chat. It is 2023 master plan at mountairymaryland.gov. And Mount Airy, Maryland, it's all one word. There's no spaces. As you know, as a workshop, we do not address public comments at this time. If you do want to make any comments or have us recognize any comments, you may send them over via Facebook or in the chat. Or you can also later, if you want to send an email, you can do that as well. So it's 6:08. I'm going to call the workshop to order. And I've lost my agenda. John, do you want to kind of go over? This is the first of many. I wanted us to go ahead and have it. I want to get in the habit of having these every Thursday. I want you to think about if you feel we are making it at 6 o'clock. If you feel that's good, we'll keep it at 6, or if you want to move it half an hour later, that's okay too. Just think about that. We'll address that later. You have in the packet of information John sent over to you a sort of agenda, kind of the program that we're going to be going through this evening, as well as the implementation plan from the 2013 master plan that we will be working from. So the first thing we want to look at, I think, is if you've looked at the master plan, there are specific chapters that are contained in the master plan. Some of these chapters will take many, many hours of work. Some of them will take little or no work at all. But all of these that you see here are what we have to include in the master plan. Bill, do you want to say anything since you, here she comes, since you, and I'll also then ask Lindy to speak about the process from the 2013 master plan.
Okay.
And kind of get us going.
Back when we started working on that, I had never done a master plan before, and so we relied very, very much on Heather Smith, who was our John Breeding at that time. And we also had a number of questions for Maryland Department of Planning, and they were very, very helpful. I wasn't involved yet with MPCA, and I've come to realize what a great resource they are. And in fact, they're going to do seminars, and I think a series of 3 of them on comprehensive planning, on master plans this year. Starting in a few weeks will be the first one. I think they'll be spread out every other month or consecutive months. I can't remember exactly when, but Roxanne and I will get you the dates of that, because I think that overview will be very, very useful. Mount Airy has had a master plan for the better part of 50 years. And I want to say the one in 2013, I believe, was our 5th master plan. We attempted to go back and see if there were copies of some of the earlier ones. I think we succeeded in finding 1 or 2. But the main thing that we realized when we dug into it and talked to a number of people who had much longer experience than we had was that previous master planning processes turned out to be a tremendous amount of work creating it. But then, for the most part, it wasn't necessarily followed. It wasn't focused on. There wasn't a responsibility for follow through and communicating that. So it was a lot of work, that basically got put on a shelf. So one of the things that we wanted to change about the 2013 process was not to make that same mistake, if I can afford to call it a mistake, and I think I can. So we attempted to do it more comprehensively. We attended to want to hold ourselves responsible for how this thing developed. To a great extent, a master plan is aspirational, but you're also being asked to the greatest extent you can to be very familiar with what your responsibilities are in creating one of these plans and what it entails. And all that's laid out and required. Some of this material we'll be able to utilize as is and simply repeat it. Other will have to be updated. One of the things we knew would be useful was to do a comprehensive town survey and ask some critical basic questions and have the benefit of understanding and knowing what a bulk of the population had to say with regard to those questions. That could be useful information and context for creating it. So we did that. Another approach we took, and I haven't heard of too many other municipalities that did this, but we felt it would be very useful to involve the other commissions and boards, because to a large extent, these chapters that are required, the material that's required, touches on just about every one of the town commissions and boards and their responsibilities. So why not get those each of those groups involved, because they have depth in a particular area, be it streets and roads, or be it water and sewer, or parks and rec, or what. So we did that. And then the last thing that we felt would be useful was to have some continuity and some update of where we stood progress-wise over time in terms of the initiatives, the objectives that we've created. Every single one of these chapters has at the end of it a set of goals, objectives, and primary initiatives that we felt at the time the plan was created. This was the way that we would try to do our best to fulfill what we felt were the needs, the goals, the objectives for each of these sections. The idea behind then putting that together into a tracking document we referred to as the 2013 Comprehensive Master Plan Implementation Status and Action Plan, a mouthful. But basically, it was helping us track what progress we were making or not making. And some of these things take a long, long time. Others can be accomplished much more quickly. Some perhaps not at all in the period of time. You don't know till you get started. But we attempted to have all of the commissions and elected officials plugged in and tracking and reporting what progress was being made. So we were all aware of that. We also convened once a year for several years a an information exchange. So face to face, each representatives of each of the commissions and the groups literally shared, here's where we are, here's what we've learned, here's some other things that we're aware of now that we might suggest tweaking it a bit going forward. All of those things contributed to the process. So it's really a dynamic process in all. It is aspirational, but the way you go about it and how responsibly you put this thing together, and we try to stay on base of what are the objectives, the goals, the primary initiatives to achieve what we all collectively feel is in the best interest of the community. That's basically the
Okay.
overview. Yeah.
Lindy, do you have any other extra comments?
No, I just find that I never ever saw any updates to that action plan. And I'd asked when I was chair, I never had, so I never thought we ever got any updates. Did you guys get updates and it was never shared?
Oh yeah, that's what this is.
I mean, the implementation efforts are they that second
Yeah.
second column.
Okay, but it was never shared with the rest of the planning commission then, right?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Never remember seeing it.
It was shared with, well, sorry about that, but it was shared with the rest of the planning commission and with the town council members and the mayor. All of it.
Okay, fine.
And we had a comprehensive information exchange every year. Well,
I can see on this, on the draft that I sent out as an attachment and also presented to you guys. For example, you know, it was updated back in January 5th, 2018, about the livable Frederick master plan was released.
mhm.
So there was an update then, another update 2018, 2014, 2016, 18. So the action plan, there's updates in all the action plan items. The implementation efforts, you know, is what the sort of the action is, and then this is the result of those actions. But again, I mean, could we do better? Could we have more of these action items being fulfilled? That would be ultimately our ultimate goal, right? Is to check off these boxes ultimately. And maybe we need to be more diligent of like when
think
we
so.
achieve these, you know, and maybe this should be on the website. So, you know, maybe it has, you know, accessible to planning commission members and the general public, that they can view those action item plans. Maybe that'll become part of the link to the master plan, the 2023 master plan.
And that's what's the website address? I didn't put that on there. I just put the 2023 master plan.
It's on our town website. It'll be,
Okay.
it'll be accessible through there.
All right. So
And it's in development too, so it's not fully
Okay.
up and running, but you know, these are items I feel like should be on there, and you know, along with the you know, the timeline that we've sort of established. And I can share that if you want me to with the screen. I can do a share of the screen if you want.
I think
Depends on what you guys want to do. If you want to go through the implementation, or do you want to look at the timeline? And if we need to make modifications to any of those, you know, we can do that and try to make that, you know, as part of the next agenda item, whoever it is.
Yeah.
I think, John, you said you've also been going to the different commissions, telling them that we will be asking them to attend at certain times, which I
Yep.
think is awesome.
Yep, and I have, I'm getting copies of the 2013 master plans made right now. So I'll be able to have them available for pickup from the different commission members, and
Good.
ultimately, hopefully I'll be able to have one for each commission member, if they want one. At
So we
least
can write
the chairman and,
Mhm.
and, at least the chairperson, and then,
Yep.
you know, if there's additional people on that commission that want a copy, I'll either make them if we haven't had them made, but I have 60 copies being made right now.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep.
So I think the first thing we need to do, Bill, where do you think we should go first?
Well, obviously, you create the actual plan, the actual document, a chapter at a time, working with the other commissions and so forth, before you then create, you know, after that's pretty much been signed off on by all the commissions, and we would actually release a chapter at a time to the town council, so they weren't overloaded. They had plenty of time to review it, and by the time we had stepped all the way through the entire document, I think in less than a 2-hour joint meeting, they blessed it all. And it was because it had been, you know, a very regulated, very thorough step-by-step process. Then once we had the actual plan written, then we started to create and lay out this implementation status action plan. And again, what we did was lifted the goals, the primary initiatives that are included in each of the chapters. I think the layout of the 2013 plan, the structure of it, is probably still fairly basic. There may be a couple, we know of at least a couple of new requirements that we're going to have to include. But we could simply start to look at the various sections and chapters and what is accomplished in each of those. That could be one starting point. Another one could be, and maybe do that first, and then take an overview of the action plan, the progress report, to get a sense of, with regard to those goals and those primary initiatives, where are we in terms of those? If they're still valid, if there's still work to be done, if we still think those are priorities and worthy objectives for the town and key goals, then obviously they'll continue to be included and tracked, and we'll simply try to move on from where we are now. So any of those could be starting points, but I think the combination of both of those approaches is what we're looking at.
Well, can I suggest we look at the timeline that I'll share with you right now, that we can sort of, I want to hack through that and make sure that we're, having that accurately shown. And again, so I mean, ultimately here we're February 1st is basically where we are currently. And again, so what are our objectives? What are our progress goals? And again, some of these dates could change based upon the schedule here. And again, we've implemented, so, streets and roads should be, and should the special projects sort of be, tailored or tasked to give some input or some advice on that. And again, that might be the wrong task for task one. Maybe, like you're saying, maybe we should be looking and deciphering chapter by chapter inside the master plan and looking at that. My only concern is I want to make sure that whatever other commissions that are involved in whatever task is assigned, that we've given them opportune time to look at that chapter, review it at their meeting, so that they can give back some positive feedback or constructive criticism, or some or direction, so that we can have a cleaner chapter.
Well, John, this is a great aid. I think we didn't have this kind of structure all laid out 10 years ago. It took us the better part of 4 years to work our way through. So I love the ambitiousness of this, and I think that the structure is such that it could be feasible.
Well, again, that's why I wanted to start early, because I figured that would gives us some fluff room if we have to, so that we can meet that 2023 deadline. That's really what I'd like to have it ratified and implemented and copied and out to everybody, by the end of 2023 is my goal. So that is, it'll be approved and ready to go in the year it's supposed to be.
Okay.
That's my hopes. If it's at the beginning of the year, great. If it's in the middle of the year, terrific. If it's at the end, that's fine as well. So I don't know if you've had a chance to review any of this, and again, we can make some adjustments here if we needed to. And again, maybe there has to be another spreadsheet, looking at each chapter. So we can, if you think, Bill, going chapter by chapter is the best way to start, maybe that's what we should do, and determine, what's the next step, and what's the next commission that needs to be involved, so we can get them the information. Now, my hopes were in the March work session is to have already talked to all the commission members and be able to have them, the chairperson and possibly the liaison, which I'm not sure if we can do that in a work session, but we probably can, to be at the March meeting, so we can sort of start everybody down the same road, so that we can, be proactive and be a community of one commissions to sort of set again, Heather and the planning commission before did a great job, and it's going to make our lives a lot easier this time around because of such a diligent job you guys did. So I put my hat off to everybody in planning commission and Heather Smith. So, and all the other employees at the town that had a part of it. So, you know, going on that, I would kick it back to Roxanne to see what you want to do. And really, that's what this first meeting is, to figure out what it is that we want to move towards and what's the next step.
Well, I think I mean, I would like to review the implementation, and we're kind of reviewing this as, remember, it's hard because this is the master plan is a view of a vision, if you will. It's not okay, we said we are going to do this, but we didn't do this, you know, because things change within the 9-10 years that this plan is there. So I, if it's okay with everyone, would like to go through this, not spend a lot of time on it, but go through the action plan and see if there's still things that we need to put back into the 2023 master plan. And then my next thing is, I think I'd like to look at the different chapters and see which, I don't think we need to go as the chapters are numbered. I think we need to determine which chapters we want to tackle first.
Roxanne, one of the very obvious points is that the first chapter, the lead off of master plan processes, goals, and objectives, there are 4 implementation plan pages in terms of initiatives and implementation efforts and so forth. This really is the introduction and the overview of the entire document.
Right.
So it's very, very logically a starting point.
Okay. So does everybody have a copy of that, or John, you can also put it up on the screen.
I am sharing the implementation, the draft of the comprehensive master plan.
I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing fishermen I'm seeing people fishing.
Look at your desktop.
How about this?
Fishing.
Is that better?
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
That's Hilton Head, South Carolina. I apologize.
Okay, well, we're here in Mount Airy, good old Mount Airy, Maryland. Okay, so let's just go down these adopted initiatives and see where we are. So the first one is the discussion between the town officials, Carroll County commissioners, and IDA pertaining to the Harrison Lizier property and the benefit of the allocation of the water and additional parkland. There has been ongoing efforts in that area, and they're still ongoing. We did approve the annexation, and it was supposed to go for a public hearing, I think, at the next as soon as the state and county signed off on it. We're still working on that.
So
If anybody
Roxanne,
has any questions, I'm not gonna.
Roxanne,
Yes, I'm not gonna
real
go
quick.
into it. Go
So
ahead.
what was approved was the annexation plan, not the
Yeah.
actual annexation.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
But so that's very important. But the
That's right.
IDA voted to kind of walk away from the deal. So at this point, it's not even on the table anymore unless we can convince Carroll County otherwise.
We are in discussions with county commissioners currently trying to sort of blow on that fire to sort of let them know we're still looking for annexation.
So John, just so that you know, I
Go ahead.
emailed all the commissioners yesterday, kind of expressing my support for it. So
Okay, great.
Good.
Did you get any response from that?
Commissioner Boucher responded, but no one else has.
Okay.
I think it's also significant that there was a fairly strong support in the recent town survey
Mhm.
from responding residents in
Extremely.
terms of a thumbs up in support of the annexation.
Okay, so the second thing is in response to the upzoning of the Zeltman property, the Planning Commission would send correspondence to the board of the Frederick County Commissioners detailing their concerns with regard to impact of each proposal and continue to analyze and respond to changes in the land use designations and rezoning the land along the town's border in both Carroll and Frederick County. You can see the implementation efforts. I'm not going to read all the implementation efforts, but I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Frederick County's taken Zeltman off of their long-term plan.
Yep, true.
Correct, which
So-
means we'll have to make sure that our master plan reflects that in this action and implementation plan. Exactly.
Okay,
So that'll be removed from this action plan.
right. The next one was a speed camera deployment plan, specifically targeting school zones to address speeding is under consideration. And I think we've seen those around, I think with the help of the new police force, we are seeing those around different places and streets and roads is
Mhm.
periodically puts those up, moves them around. Traffic rotaries are being considered as a possible way to provide uninterrupted traffic flow and minimize traffic conflicts. I think what they're talking about is are they talking about roundabouts? Is that what a traffic rotary is?
Yes, it's just
Okay.
another definition.
Okay.
Howard County went very heavily in this direction a few years back, and we're very satisfied with the results. I think that was one of the reasons it was brought up here.
Well,
But we're a much smaller area too.
right. If anybody has anything to say about any of these, please speak up. Because I'm looking down reading and I'm forgetting to look up to see if anybody is unmuted or wants to say anything. The fifth one was pursue the acquisition of particular properties located on the border of town to establish a physical buffer between the town in both Carroll and Frederick counties. We kind of identified the properties. We didn't necessarily do anything with those.
This is an important point. I would contend it's something that we have repeatedly mentioned to both Frederick and Carroll County, that we have a concern with the incursion of their development right up to our borders. It's been an issue for a number of the communities in Frederick County, and I believe it was Walkersville that actually appropriated enough money to purchase and create a buffer around pretty much the entirety of their community. It continues to be a concern in terms of encroaching development. So this may be something that we want to continue to emphasize and mention to the planners who have connection with us in both counties.
I would like to see that. I would like to see the council kind of consider that too as well. The sixth one was identifying development along Main Street, Center Street, infill lots and redevelopment opportunities and prioritize water allocation accordingly. I think we have worked on this initiative and it's a continuing initiative. I think we want to continue it in the next master plan. And I think that we were very good at doing this action item. We had the downtown master plan. We've got the priorities for the water.
Yep.
But I still think it needs to continue.
In fact, in the 2013 plan, Roxanne, we basically said that in terms of development, the priority we felt was infill. And this was one of the ways that we phrased that.
The seventh initiative was concentrate efforts to acquire additional easements for the development of planned rails to trails, identify pathway connections to provide safe pedestrian pathways, connecting schools, homes, shopping, employment centers, rec areas, and other designations. I think we've had a good start on that, and I'd like to see that to continue.
And again, I'll make sure that I update this when the CSX, west side of CSX is finalized. Yeah,
Okay.
that we're getting,
Yes.
we're obtaining properties and we're moving forward.
So that was the,
This is a continuation of 7.
yes. Yeah, that's a continuation of 7. And then we go to the next page, which I don't know why it starts over with 1 again, but it's still in the chapter 1. Better manage the effects of regional growth on the town of Mount Airy. We're trying, but I think it's really hard. This is a really hard goal to continue because we don't seem to necessarily have the cooperation that we need sometimes, but we're trying. I know we've tried to have regional, we've tried to get regional conversations going about growth, and it doesn't, no one seems to want to participate. We're willing participants, but no one else is. So maybe we need to think of a better way, be a little bit more creative about the growth in the town. The next one is mitigate the impacts of the regional growth on the town character. Once again, I think that we need to work harder on this. I'm not sure what else we can do short of what we were doing. If anybody has any suggestions, that's great. But we did do a corridor study, a Route 27 corridor study. We've worked with the State Highway Administration to upgrade the town roads within the boundaries as much as we can. And we're still trying to acquire land for additional green space and a boundary between the different counties. The next goal was to protect the town's groundwater resources by increasing wellhead protection, undertaking measures to prevent groundwater pollution, increase water recharge areas by acquiring land and establishing additional conservation areas, both inside, within, and out. Those are both PC and council responsibilities. Is Barney still? Yeah, Barney's still there. Barney, I think we're doing a fairly good job on this protection. You can probably answer it a little better than I.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're on track. I mean, as far as the wellhead protection, we have pretty much most of the town is a wellhead protection area.
Okay, awesome. The next is to provide a quality living environment in the town of Mount Airy. And I think that we've done an excellent job with this. We're creating new groups of people. We're seeing grants for the art in the town. We talk about the pub runners, the facilities, the public facilities, and the services are. We're focusing on getting those infilled with the water allocations that we have. We're encouraging neighborhood and community connections, and we're trying to integrate the pedestrian and the biking networks throughout the town. So I think we're on a good place with this. We need to continue to make it even more stronger. It's kind of hard in the year of 2020 to make the connections that we need, but I think we're finding new and different ways to do things that hopefully some of these new and different ways will continue, and we'll find a way to implement them or integrate them into the town and the plan that we have for it.
I think ultimately what might have to happen for this bike path or pedestrian walkway through the town is we might have to purchase right-of-ways through areas, and we might have to provide plantings to sort of try to create these connectability. But it's not going to be an easy job. Most people feel like it creates a crime element. It creates more maintenance for the town. It creates a lot of things, but it also creates a positive and an uplifting environment for residential draw. And I think it is something we need to work towards. It's not going to be an easy ride, but nothing is it's worth fighting for.
Exactly. I was going to say that the harder you work for it, the better you are. The next implementation is encourage and promote economic development in the town. I think that, and Pam, you can to speak to this as well. I think the EDC has done an excellent job. They are continuing to find new and different ways to attract people, attract businesses to the town, as well as the different things that we needed to implement to get more people to come to the town. But I think that we're on our way. Like, once again, it's a long struggle, but I think that the EDC is working very well. Do you have any comments, Pam?
Yeah, thank you, Roxanne. EDC is definitely doing a fantastic job. The one thing I would say is I think we spend a little bit too much time focusing just on the downtown when we should be, have a little bit more focus on the entire town. But EDC has recognized that, which, through the tour and the Envision Mount Airy, we spotlight all the available commercial spaces in town. So I think they're doing a fantastic job.
I agree. And I would like to see, one thing I would like to see in this master plan is working in the Ridgeville Boulevard, in that what we consider the Ridgeville area, to get that up to snuff.
So I agree. That actually
more
recently, that came up with a member of town council recently, that EDC needs to, kind of focus on that area and come up with a plan to see what we can't do about it.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going on, that must have been chapter 2. So we're going to chapter 3, which is natural resources. The first one is to protect and maintain the natural and environmental resources in the town of Mount Airy. I can't, Lindy, you're on the beautification committee, aren't you? No? Oh, I thought you were. I think we looked at what the beautification committee has done and is doing. It's an excellent job. They're keeping plannings going. They're making sure that we look nice. We have different signs for the parks. They've done a lot. That's an excellent start, I think. To reduce the adverse effects of development and environmental resources in insensitive areas. That will be a continuance also into the 2023 master plan. It's one of the things I think on there is to evaluate development proposals in relation to unique natural features, such as parcels over strict conformity with zoning regulations, and develop the necessary planning tools that are needed to protect sensitive areas. Review existing landscape regulations to determine if it's sufficient to provide the appropriate screening and buffering. My hope is that the beautification committee will continue to work on that. Number 3 is identify the location of environmental resource areas in order to improve their protection. Um,
And a lot of this stuff, it doesn't have an action plan or how
No.
we're implementing the efforts, but a lot of this stuff has been or is being addressed. I mean, the reforestation and the
I
planning,
think a
that's
lot of,
something you do during the site plan review. So I think,
right. I think that the natural resources is kind of like it's a forever evolving and ongoing implementation of all of those things that are on that. So the next chapter is chapter 4, which is land use and zoning. Prioritize and concentrate near term 8 to 10 years development on infill rather than annexation, which I think we're working on. The second one is emphasize more balance between commercial, industrial, and residential development in support of creating more near-term commercial and industrial utilization, tax growth revenue. I think we're working towards that. We have some possible plans. We've looked at, we developed the mixed use development. We have the office use park. I think all of those things, especially those two zones, were important things that came out of the 2013 master plan. Emphasize, I did that one. Lead the town's development priorities with an emphasis on downtown revitalization. I think we can say that we have the vision for the downtown. We need to now implement some of those things and also carry them through into other parts of the town as well. I think the thing you're seeing is provide more opportunity, capabilities, and balance for near-term development and redevelopment. Once again, mixed use zone. We've that's kind of taken many different, gone many different ways, but I think we now have it established as to how we want to go about that mixed zone. Ensure the green space for recreation, groundwater recharge, and wellhead protection is strategically placed to optimize for these purposes. I think we really need to start that one and really concentrate on that one this year in this master plan. We are not at where we should be as far as our open space is concerned for what we have for our development. So I think we really need to concentrate on that. Ensuring quality development with zoning categories. I think we're doing that. I think that we'll continue to do that. Consider existing zoning and rezoning requests within the context of the overall master plan and the land use objective for which the plan is intended. I think that probably is one of the most, probably is going to be the longest part of what this plan is going to be doing. We are going to be sending letters out to different people asking if they want to consider rezoning, a rezone to their property. We know that there are some people already that probably will be coming to request rezoning for their property. So along with writing the master plan and getting it together, we also will be hearing those requests and sending them on to the town council. So the next chapter is transportation, which is a lot of streets and roads. So identify both current as well as future transportation issues and concerns for which potential solutions and remediation plans will be implemented. This is kind of hard to do when before the development comes in. You have to think, as you go along, you have to think about the development, what's going to happen. Based on the findings of the comprehensive local transportation study, identify and prioritize the town's current transportation issues and concerns to include actual street and roads network, traffic management, sidewalk, and pathways. I think the streets and roads is systematically going through the different areas. We have a unique town. I don't know if you remember when they did the the downtown vision plan, and they pulled up the town, and you just saw the roads. You didn't have any of the names or anything, but it was just the town with the roads. You notice that a lot of the roads in this town go absolutely nowhere, and it's been that way for many years. So it's an arduous task to get connectivity in the town.
Do you also remember, Roxanne, they pointed out like how you really can't have two cars drive down lots
Exactly.
of the residential, like my,
Exactly.
my street.
Your street, Carroll Avenue, I don't go down Carroll Avenue. I shudder every time I have to go down that street. And there's got to be some, I think in this master plan, hopefully we'll find some creative ways for people to get so that we can.
Well, we'd have to do some type of road widening with purchasing of some of the right of way from somebody's adjoining property to be able to make that wider.
That's the problem. There are no right of ways.
Well, we have to purchase it. That's what
exactly. We'll figure
out.
out.
You can't make road where there's no property.
That's
to make
true.
road.
That's true. So it might. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different things that a lot of different towns do.
Make them one-way roads.
Well, you can.
Parking on one side, but that's.
And Arlington, the city of Arlington has a unique parking structure. It's permitted parking on the streets, and you don't always necessarily get a permit right in front of your house. So I don't know.
Half the people's properties go to the middle of the street too.
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
You have to purchase that right of way.
Right.
You have to buy the street back from the people.
That's right. Which can be costly.
Identify and designate priority transportation zones as a method of focusing attention and remediation on location and issues of particular concern. And there were, we had different areas that we wanted for consideration. And I think we're working on those. We will still continue to work on them. Expand and integrate pedestrian parkways, walking, jogging, cycling, and networks through the town. This had us trying to develop a master pedestrian plan for the town. I would like to see that to continue to try to get working on that a little better.
And I think it had a very high
it did
approval rate in the last survey. That's what people are looking for. So the survey rated that very high.
Mm-hmm. Identify locations and issues throughout the town where transportation-related safety is a concern and in need of improvement. Improve the mobility of the town, which I think we'll still be working on, and improve parking in the downtown zone. I think we've worked on that.
But again, even the mobility in downtown, I mean, we went through and we expanded the sidewalks around the poles, and we've done many things thanks to engineering and.
Thank you. That's why you get paid the big bucks, John. Review and evaluate review and evaluate the advantages versus the disadvantages of pursuing ownership of Maryland 808 Main Street. That kind of, I don't think we've really worked on. It would be nice to have it as ours, but I don't think the state's ready to give it up yet. Evaluate the need for transit services and available options for the Mount Airy community. I think that they do need to do a needs assessment, especially with the, there needs to be some sort of regional transportation between Carroll, Howard, Frederick, and Montgomery, because there are people that, Carroll comes and does some people. You do see the Carroll County, I don't know, I can't remember what it's called.
Carroll Transit.
Yeah, Carroll Transit in helping with the seniors. But, we're in a unique situation in the fact that we kind of are situated in all 4 counties. We really need to have a regional implementation of that. Chapter 7 was community facilities and public services. First one was given their importance and essential contribution to the health and development of the town, ensure adequate long-range planning, program implementation, and financial support for the town's facilities and public services. And I think we continue to do that. We have, Barney, if you can add anything to that about the facilities and our public services.
I mean, as far as our facilities, we've done a number of infrastructure upgrades. We've worked on our buildings. So, I mean, I think we've come a long way in the past, even just since the last master plan.
Yeah, I agree. Identifying program operating goals for each facility service for time frame. I think that's a to be determined. So I don't think we really worked on that one. Devise and implement assessment processes appropriate to each facility and service and begin to apply the process consistently over time. Report the findings publicly and on a to be determined frequency and spur discussion, feedback, and appropriate response by the town commissions and the town council. Look for opportunities for the town's community facilities and public services and gain planning and operational efficiencies. And then we're talking about by work sessions involving the town officials and the representatives. We talk about we've done the joint commission work sessions, increase the number of work sessions to twice a year, suggested the chairs of each commission meet on a quarterly basis to discuss progress of current affairs, goals, and opportunities. I think I was speaking with John a little bit about this. I think that we need to make that a priority because we really aren't totally as commissions working together. We kind of piecemeal things, and we're not being proactive. We're kind of being retroactive in things. And I think with the way that the planning is and things are coming down the pike, we need to look forward a little bit more than just, well, what's going to happen with this piece? Like, I'll give an example for the Chick-fil-A. So we know that there's going to be some road improvements that are going to happen, but we really need to not sit on them because the development's going to happen, and then we'll get to the point where we're into the development, and all of a sudden what we wanted to do for the improvements is it didn't happen fast enough. And I want to see the commissions work a little bit more hand in hand with that. I think it's very important.
And I know due to COVID, we didn't actually have a joint commission meeting this past year.
Right.
And again, we could have done something via Zoom, which again, I'm pushing for this coming March work
Okay.
session.
Also, I thought that Mount Airy newsletter was useful among the commissions.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So I'm not sure exactly what that is.
Who was pushing it? Was it Melissa? Who was getting
Melissa.
it? Yeah, it was Melissa. So not that I ever did much, but she would ask the commissions to, put in what they were doing in a newsletter. Remember, Roxanne?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, and I think that, and that goes back to me saying we need to, at least the commission chairs need to meet quarterly, and also that newsletter, because it's important that we know.
Right. The newsletter was what your goals were and kind of talking about what was going on. And it was to everybody in the town, but also the other commissions can know what the other commission was doing. I thought it was useful and it was, easy to get out. So
I wonder if that's something we could print in the messenger quarterly,
probably that would be a great idea.
And again, so that still gets it out there. So I'll make a note to that to see if we can try to get that out quarterly, and we'll hopefully budget for that also for this up and coming year,
Mhm.
so we can keep it consistent.
The next is promote alternative energy sources and support enhanced recycling considerations. I think the Recycling Commission is doing an excellent job. They're still trying to educate us and keep us on track and on board with what's happening. We don't have a green team anymore, but that is the sustainable, I think.
Correct.
So I think that they're working towards us getting greener. We've put in chargers for electric cars, so we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, they're working to get the recertification again this year.
Okay, awesome. Invest in advanced technologies to benefit residents, businesses, and visitors. And I think that it says here that the Economic Development Commission is continuing to effort to access technology needs for Mount Airy. And I think now it's even more important than it was in 2013. And it's going to continue to stay important. Our way of working and our lifestyles are different now. So we're going to see more people working at home. I think we really need to bulk up the technology.
Well, I think we're actually working on trying to get electronic payments for the town. I think we're working on trying to get that for permits, et cetera, so that, we don't have to have checks or, in-person purchasing, that we'll be able to hopefully do that electronically in the future.
Yeah, I think we're all running towards that. The last one is invest in advanced. No, I've done that. So I think we're still working towards that. Is the fiber optics thing still happening? Are they still working towards that? I don't know where he went.
He's still here. He's muted currently.
Oh, okay.
I'm on my phone because I lost connection
Oh, okay.
via my laptop, so I've been pinch hitting on the phone. I know we've had some connection with the fiber optic link, because they brought it in right away to the firehouse, to the schools, to the library. We didn't do a microwave hop, and they also brought it into to town hall. But beyond that, I don't know that there's been any more.
Yeah, I wonder if we don't reach out to Ting and see if they want to do something down here in the town of Mount Airy, as they're doing in Westminster, connecting to the fiber optics. I wonder if that's something they might want to expand, possibly.
It's worth looking into.
Yeah.
The 8th chapter is the community design guidelines. Reinforce the significance of Main Street to the community by creating gateways to Main Street, encouraging streetscape improvements, supporting downtown preservation, revitalization opportunities, partner with the state roads for continued improvement to Main Street. I think that's the Parks and Rec, and I think you can see different things on Main Street. We have benches, we have nice waste receptacle. I can't say that word, waste baskets, I'll say. But I think we're working towards that, and we have started a good gateway. You see the sign there coming in on the hill there, coming in to town. Yeah, so I think we're doing a great job. Develop a linear park along an east-west route to interconnect new development, existing town parks, the historic B&O right-of-way, and the south branch of the Patapsco River.
I.e. rails to trails, right?
Yeah, rails to trails. Improve the quality of new development through greater attention to site development, enhanced streetscapes, and lot designs. I think if we had developments, I think we didn't have that much in the past 9 years, but I think that we all are fully aware that we want the streetscapes to be a lot different than they were before. More pleasant, pleasing to the eye, and walkable areas within the developments. I think all of those things, the implementation strategies are all there, and I think we're starting to do those. The last thing is to review opportunities with existing neighborhood developments that will provide a measure of continuity and integration greater than currently exists within the development. I'm not sure what that meant. Lindy, Bill, do you have?
I think was talking about like communities, rather than walling themselves off, connecting the communities. I was thinking about like Nottingham and all that, but they wanted to be able to have them more linked and walkable. That's my 2 cents.
Okay, I thought that's what it meant, but thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think some discussion in that regard has occurred. More progress to follow, hopefully.
Bill, it looks like you have a halo over your head because of your. It's
too.
Okay. It's just looked like you had a halo over your head.
Oh, sorry.
No,
That's
it's
all right
fine.
now.
It's fine.
So we've reviewed that. Does anyone have any specific goals or objectives that they feel we should concentrate on in this next master plan? Want to think about that for the next month when we come together.
Lindy?
Well, I mean, Roxanne, I would just add that and it's always been a struggle, how to get everyone involved, how to let the person down the street know what's going on. I mean, it's always an ongoing, and maybe again in the messenger, something like that, input is welcome. And it's, anyway, that's just my 2 cents.
Okay.
Well, again, I am going to start advertising in the messenger to sort of get it out there that we're starting this up. And yes, we want involvement. And again, we want them to come to the planning commission meetings so they can have an opportunity to speak and listen into these work sessions so that they can make notes and either submit something in writing to that website that or to the email address that we've made so that we can convey that to the commission. And maybe I might have it so that you guys can gain access to that email address so you can see what correspondence is coming in.
That would be helpful.
Have to talk to find, or maybe we have it so I can forward that.
Forward it to us. Yes.
Which is probably the easiest.
Deborah, do we have anybody that's made any comments or anything on Facebook Live?
No comments.
Okay, and I don't have any comments here. All righty. Okay, John, I'm going to kind of push it back to you.
So again, with the, it sounds like, implementation schedule needs some improvement, and we need to update some of that information that's in there. And again, allowing those other commissions to give some additional input and maybe striking some of the stuff that we've already addressed. Or keeping it in there and saying, completed, actually put that in there. Say we've completed this on this date. To show that we do have some progress for the next 10 years after we're done this, so that when they come in and they're like, okay, they did this on this date. I mean, I go back and I look at our timeline. I mean, again, I feel like if we can get, again, we've done the implementation review of the 2013 spreadsheet. So we just did that, even though it says February, March, we've taken care of that goal or task too. And I think we're moving forward already. We're already into March and we're not here yet. So I think having that planning commission, joint commission meeting in March is really what I'd like to shoot for. And it might get pushed back to April because of timing wise and other commissions. I haven't been able to meet all the commissions. I don't have the master plan to give them for review. I haven't given them the implementation schedule that shows them which tasks they're assigned to, which ones we're looking for feedback from. You know, trying to give as much information to all the different commissions so that they feel like they're involved. And again, I'm going to get this ad out into the messenger as soon as possible about the up and coming master plan and our work sessions and our scheduled dates for when those work sessions are going to be in play, and how to go about getting into the meeting. Even though you might have to register at the beginning, I think it allows us to control the meeting a little bit better. I think it's a learning curve, but I feel like we're progressing towards that goal. That's where
Exactly.
I'm at.
I
So we can
agree.
do one of two things tonight. We can call the meeting, and that's really up to the planning commission, or we can start, you know, going through it and looking at whatever chapter you want to choose to look at today. You know, it doesn't have to be chapter 1. We can choose whatever chapter you all want to sort of start hashing through. Or we can, I'm going to kick it back to you, Roxanne, or Bill,
Okay,
or
well,
Lindy.
I'm willing to, I think that we should kind of go over the chapter, what chapters that we want to. I don't think we need to start with chapter 1 and go through the book, because there are some chapters that are going to take much longer than other chapters. For instance, the chapter 4, the land use and zoning, is the one that's going to take the most time.
Right,
And
so
that's
should-
also, I think we should start there. Not necessarily tonight, but in our March meeting.
Okay.
What does everyone think?
Sounds good.
That could work. We could start to make a list of possible rezonings and start to put out the request to see who wants to come back and request one.
And that would give us enough time to go through and review the plan again. And because I know this kind of came kind of quick. I wanted to go ahead and have it, even though it was, you know, quick after our meeting, to go ahead and review. And if you all have any priorities as far as chapters that you want to prioritize, to let us know, and also your goals and objectives to be put into the master plan.
Okay.
So on the March agenda, I'm going to have, we're going to start on chapter 4. Or it might be April if we get the joint commission in on March. It might, you know, again, it might be, you know, chapter 4 possibly, and then the joint commission.
John, have you sent the task force plan that you have? Have you sent that to the other commissions?
No, I was going to
Okay.
attach that as part of the
Okay.
master plan book that I'm going to
Okay,
be
good.
giving to them.
Okay, great.
I mean, I could email it to them with the one that I've revised. Thank you, Bill, for your copy. I use that to sort of, you know, update this. And so I can forward this to all the different commission members as I reach out to them for the joint commission webinar work session on March the 4th.
I think that would be a good idea. I think they'd like to, you know, want to see what's coming down the road for them and for everybody else. Does 6 o'clock work for people? Would you rather move it to 6:30? Would that be better for people?
6:30 would be better, I think.
Okay.
Either is good for me. I'm with teleworking. I would have a preference if I was driving up 270, but
Right. Well, I think that's what I was thinking, that some people are back at work. So, Lindy?
She's got a broken foot.
I still have a broken ankle, remember?
A broken
I
ankle. I'm
know.
sorry.
But the only reason why I like the 6 o'clock is because the earlier it starts, the earlier it
Right.
ends. Because that.
Okay.
But I'll go either way you guys want to go. And I will be, you know, as soon as I can walk and I can get physical therapy, I will be out of my out of my boot.
You're out of it right now.
Don't you have
Yeah,
that
only because
thing?
I'm like on a couch.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, I think if it's all right with everyone, we'll keep it at 6. Then if we find a struggle, we can move it. But I think we're going to keep it at 6 to 8. So does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns? Want you to,
I was going to recap real quick, Roxanne.
sure.
So I'm going to reach out to Melissa about the possible newsletter going out
We-
at a quarterly event. So we're going to have to generate something as well for, what's happening in the planning department, which won't be that difficult, and I can pull that together. I'm going to reach out to Ting to possibly see if they're interested in coming to Mount Airy and setting up a hub here for fiber optics. Can't hurt to ask. And then the March agenda, I'm going to have the chapter 4 and the joint commission meeting possibly. And I'm going to forward the implementation plan to all the commissions and members.
Okay.
I think that's great. That'll give everybody time to read up on chapter 4 and have any of your questions or concerns when we come back. And I think that we can adjourn unless anyone has anything else. Thank you all for your time. Have a happy rest of the Thursday evening. Have a great weekend, and
Enjoy the
Let's
football
go.
game this weekend.
yeah,
Right.
let's go.
Let's
Let's
go.
get
Which
this
are
thing
who are
done.
you voting for?
Ah,
Gotta go with
It'll be a
Tom.
good-
you
It'll be a
gotta
good
go
game.
with the old man. I mean,
Tom Brady.
Tom.
It's a home game for the Buccaneers.
It
I mean, come
is.
on,
It
that
is
doesn't
a-
happen.
First time in 10 years, first time ever that's ever happened. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I don't know about anybody else that I did announce it. I officially got my first shot.
Okay.
So
There you go.
I'm excited.
Cool.
All right.
Very
All
good.
right, everybody, we're going
Take
to
care,
adjourn,
folks.
and we'll see you next time.
Great job,
Thanks,
Gina
everybody.
and Deborah. Thank
Yes,
you.
good job,
This
you
was their
guys.
first meeting they were running. Deborah was running the meeting, so
Good job, Deborah.
you did a
Thank
great
you.
Way
job.
to go.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you.
Super.
All right. We'll see you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.